Beef and barley soup is a cozy and filling dish that can chase away the winter with its warmth. This recipe starts as a meal in a jar. I'm using quick cook barley in this recipe, so whenever you're hungry, you're only about 25 minutes away from a hearty and delicious meal. The barley is soft and kind of chewy, it's sort of nutty, and it's perfect alongside the beef and the flavorful broth in this dish. I based this recipe on my beef stew that's already up on my channel. I hope you'll give this recipe a try. Well, hi there everyone. My name is Kareth. I'm a wife, a mom, an author, and a cook. On this channel, I like to create recipes using freeze-dried food. Sometimes it's completely shelf-stable, like a meal or a mix in a jar. Other times, I combine freeze-dried with fresh, but all the time, it's delicious. I'm here to help people who have freeze-dried food on their shelves to know how to cook with it. I test out recipes so you don't have to. Welcome to the Freeze-Dried Foodie. This recipe was a subscriber request. Although I did not grow up eating beef barley soup very often, I had it a couple of times, I really enjoyed it when I did have it. So what I did was I just took my beef stew recipe and then I subbed out the potatoes for the barley. The barley that I'm using is the quick cook barley. It's this quick cook pearl barley that I found at Walmart. And actually, it was not very expensive at all. I looked online. I tried to buy it on Amazon, and y'all, it was like $9 for a box of it. It was ridiculous. So if you want to make this and you have it at your Walmart, that is where I suggest you purchase that. Because wow, that was way too expensive online. I'll put up on the screen a list of the ingredients you'll need to make this, and then I'll put the exact measurements down in the description box below the video. I've got a quart-sized jar here. This will make about 3 good-sized servings of soup. In the bottom of the jar, I put the beef dices, and I'm adding some mushrooms because I really like mushrooms. And then in goes that quick cook pearled barley. And then I'm just adding some vegetables. I've got some freeze-dried carrots I got from freeze-dry wholesalers, as well as the mirepoix, and that's just a combination of onions, celery, and carrots. And if you don't have it in mirepoix form, you can just add those ingredients separately in freeze-dried form. If you don't have freeze-dried carrots and you're using dehydrated carrots, I would suggest that you don't use more than 2 or 3 tablespoons of those. They're really sweet and they can take over the dish. All right, now I'm going to build some flavor in my broth. So I'm using some of my tomato sauce, and if you don't have it from Thrivalist, don't worry, I have a recipe on my channel for tomato sauce, and I will link that recipe below. I've also got some Espagnole sauce powder in there, and then I have a copycat recipe on my channel for that as well. I'll link to it. Along with those things, I'm adding some Worcestershire sauce powder and some beef bouillon. And you need all of these in your broth in order to balance out the flavor that comes with using freeze-dried beef dices. I've told y'all this before. I think they're good. It's just they have a kind of a strong, dried flavor to me. And in order to balance that out, I like to have really flavorful broth. So I've got all those sauce powders, the bouillon, and I've got herbs in here. I have freeze-dried thyme and freeze-dried parsley, as well as salt and pepper. Now I did have room at the top of my jar, so I added more mushrooms and more beef dices. You can add whatever you want more of if you have room at the top of your jar. And then the very last ingredient that needs to go in is just a bay leaf. And that's all there is to it. If you like this recipe, you really love beef barley soup, then you could make several of these jars at once and then just keep them on your pantry shelf. If you do plan on keeping these for more than a couple months, then I would add an oxygen absorber, and that'll just help keep things nice and fresh. If you enjoy cooking with freeze-dried foods, please consider owning my cookbooks. They're both available on Amazon in paperback and as a digital download on my website, thefreezedriedfoodie.com. I'll link to both below. If you own freeze-dried food and want to be able to cook delicious meals with it, then you'll love having my cookbooks. They're loaded with completely shelf-stable meals and mixes, And although I wrote the recipes with Thrive Life ingredients in mind, you can use any brand, including home freeze-dried foods. All right, back to the recipe. Let me show you how I make this stew. You could just empty that jar straight into the pan, add water, and get it to simmering. Or I'm going to show you another technique that I use to draw out a little bit of extra flavor. So I have a Dutch oven on my stove, and then I added just a couple tablespoons of olive oil. I heated that up about a 6 out of 10 on my stove, and then I added the ingredients from the jar. And I'm doing what I call a dry saute here. The reason I like to do this sometimes is because the hot oil will help to wake up those spices, the seasonings, the sauce powders, and it will help to coat the ingredients just a little bit. And it just seems to give everything a little bit of extra flavor. I only sauteed that for 1 or 2 minutes. That's all you need. When it becomes fragrant, then you can start to add the liquid. Now I've got some red wine here, and I like to add about half a cup of red wine to my beef stew, or in this case, my beef barley soup. So if you don't have the wine or don't want to use the wine, that's fine. It'll be fine without it. You can just use all water, okay? After I stirred that around and it sauteed for another minute or so, I'm starting to add the water. And I added about 6.5 cups of water. You'll just want to give that a stir. Scrape up any of that fond that developed on the bottom of your pot, because those brown bits, those are flavor. Oh, and I did remove that bay leaf before I poured it in because I was going to saute it. So go ahead and add that bay leaf back in. And you'll just want to bring this up to a boil. So I think I mentioned I had it on about a 6 out of 10 on my stove, and it took about 5 minutes or so to bring that up to a boil. Once it comes to a true boil and you're not able to stir down that boil, then you can reduce your heat to probably a 4 out of 10, and you just need to let it simmer for about 20 minutes. And I did come along every once in a while and give it a stir. Just make sure that barley is not sticking on the bottom. As you cook it, you'll notice it darkens in color and it thickens. And as that barley absorbs the water, it will plump up and it will release starches into the broth, and then it'll just get nice and thick. Now, if you think it needs more liquid, just add water, half a cup at a time, and then you can adjust your seasonings. Now, after about 20 minutes, I went ahead and gave this a taste. This is a great time to just make sure everything is tender and the flavor's where you want it to be. The beef was tender, the carrots were tender, the barley was good, and it tasted great to me. I didn't add a thing. I thought it was perfect. So I went ahead and served this up, and all I did was add a little bit of parsley to it as a garnish. Have some parsley growing out back. It smells so good in my house. I love the smell of beef stew cooking away on my stove. So isn't that a beautiful dish? I love all the colors. If you'll notice, okay, those crinkle cut carrots that I got from freeze dry wholesalers, I don't know if you noticed at the beginning of the video, but those have blanched in color. They've whitened. And I keep those in a closet that's dark all the time. So I don't know why those are turning white. That's just kind of something that I've heard happens with freeze-dried carrots. If you don't blanch them first before you freeze-dry them, they just start to turn white over time. And like I said, it's totally dark in that closet, so I don't know. That's just something I thought was interesting. They still taste great, but they're not as orange as they used to be. But yeah, isn't this lovely? I love that plump barley in there. Such a pretty stew. And let me show you just how gorgeous this piping hot beef and barley soup is. I think it's probably more like a stew, don't you think? I mean, people call this beef barley soup, but it seems more like a stew to me. It's very thick. And y'all, this tastes so good. It's the exact same flavor as my beef stew. Have you had that before? Have you tried that? Just the combination of the tomato sauce with the Espagnole sauce and then the thyme and beef bouillon, all that together, it plays really well together. It's very savory. All I did really to make this into a beef barley soup is swap out those potatoes from my beef stew and put in the quick cook barley. If you're not familiar with barley, it has a texture that reminds me of oats, but it's heartier, it holds together better, and there's a chewiness to them, like a bounciness to them. It's really, really tasty. I think it's a perfect grain to add to a beef stew. Yeah, really, really yummy. I will put the full recipe down below. I will also include the links to my cookbooks and all that stuff. Okay, I have a verse of the day for you. And this time, since it's getting close to Christmas, I'm going to read a passage from Luke chapter 1, and it's Mary's song of praise to the Lord. People call it the Magnificat. And I'm just going to read a portion of that. And it reads, "And Mary said, 'My soul magnifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Savior, for he has looked on the humble estate of his servant. For behold, from now on, all generations will call me blessed. For he who is mighty has done great things for me, and holy is his name. And his mercy is for those who fear him from generation to generation.'" Amen. All right, guys. Well, I hope you have a blessed day. Thank you for spending part of it with me. I do appreciate you. And I hope you have a wonderful week. And until next time, y'all take care and keep thriving.